For me, the unending allegations of judicial impropriety is a worrisome issue, and it's not only good. It's not good for our judiciary. It's not good for our nation as well. Especially when some of these allegations are made without recourse to the veracity of the facts. So for me, that is a big challenge that I think occurred this year, and I think we should try to do everything possible to ensure that we put it in check. I think we should separate the facts from the fiction. People should not take the position that lawyers that we have a duty to investigate where our clients get money to pay from. If I work for you, there is no requirement for me under the law to start to ask you where you got money for which you are paying my fees from. And I think all over the world, there is no such requirements on lawyers. Nigeria cannot be an exception. And from what you have heard, part of these monies were paid to some other senior lawyers who took part in certain transactions. So, for me, we must be very careful. In an attempt to clean the audience tables, we should not destroy institutions. Nobody asks an accountant that he must ask from his client where he gets the fees from. Nobody asks a banker. Nobody asks an engineer or an architect. Why must lawyers be treated differently? That when you brief me to do a matter, then I must then start to ask you, this money you are paying, where is it from? I think that will be asking for too much. All the stakeholders do not seem to appreciate what higher education is all about. When I say stakeholders, even including parents, the lecturers, the members of non-academic staff, and then administrators of the university system. You see, for me, I believe that we don't seem to appreciate that we have to work as a team, but with distinct functions. And the use of strike as the instrument of the first and last demand from employers in the university system is destroying the system, because it promotes academic instability. And once that is the case, that is why a lot of people are losing confidence in our tertiary education. That is why Nigerian students try to find their ways to even Republic of Benin, Ghana and other places for university education. So we must all know that we must make sacrifices for the system to survive. We must all be loyal. We must display patriotism for the system to survive. Government must do more in terms of funding, undoubtedly, but strike is usually should be the last option in all these issues. But it appears to be the only weapon being used now by the different cadres of workers in the university system. It's not healthy. Good, and I feel grateful to God. This was something I never solicited for, and it just came from the blues. I remain eternally grateful to God and to the university for that great honor, which happened in April this year. It's a combination of so many things. I believe that I owe God a lot. He has been very kind to me. I believe I owe the society a lot, the society that produces me. I believe I owe a lot to humanity, because good neighborliness starts from sharing. And when you share, you get more. So that is the way I see it, and of course, and I see it as a religious obligation. That God has said from my faith, that when you are giving plenty, it's not for yourself alone, but in trust for others. Because God knows that there are others who will not have enough. So if you are giving excess, the best thing to do is to distribute the excess to other people. There is no point in accumulating things that will not be useful to you, because you like it. No matter how long you live, you will die. And our attitude about what I call primitive acquisitiveness, you have to stop. We just accumulate as if it's just a normal thing. It's not normal. You can't sleep in two bedrooms at the same time. You can't ride two cars at the same time. So once we know this, there are limitations. And how much can you take? How much can you eat? How many dresses can you put on at the same time? Even if they are in Nigeria, you won't see them near any camping ground. Not to talk of being affected by any hill wheel at a camping ground. Why should children of others? The only time you see the children of the gladiators is when they win elections and they are being inaugurated. Their children will come with them to the venue. But it's other people's children who go with them to camping grounds. I think people should just know. So I'm part of my leisure time is what we are doing now. I'm talking with you. I like reading, and then of course I like exercises. I do gym a lot, especially in the morning, and then I come to work, talk with people, read, and and then of course weekends, if I have the time, if I get invited, I attend functions. But like I told you, I allocate time for those kind of events.
Announcements by various people that we are generating X megawatts or whatever it is, but we still find that we are spending so much money buying diesel or paying for inverters or buying solar power. Until it is possible for somebody to start a business in Nigeria and not have to have two alternative sources of power, we cannot say that we are through the bushes yet. When the security situation in the country, in the northeast of Nigeria, is frightening, that any group of people can attack a military base and kill 70 soldiers, and with the large army that we have, an experienced army, when you compare Nigerian army with the army of other African countries, you see that the Nigerian army is quite experienced. And we have been spending a lot of money on armaments. So it's very disturbing to hear that these 70 unfortunate soldiers were killed by rebels, so to speak. It takes months before the HMOs pay. It's not unusual to find HMOs that are owing hospitals 5 months, 6 months. Now, if they are owing 5 months, 6 months, where does the hospital get money to pay staff and to buy consumables? So that's a very serious challenge. When you investigate closer, you find that the HMOs themselves are being owed premiums by those they are insuring. You'll find a bank, for instance, that has asked an HMO to insure the health of their staff, and yet they will not pay the premium on time. Premiums are supposed to be paid in advance. Like in car insurance, no insurance, no cover. But in healthcare, people just do whatever they like. A company will be owing an HMO, and be paying in arrears for health care that is being provided. Where does the HMO get the money to pay the hospitals? So you can see the whole thing goes round. You know, hospitals are not paid because the HMO hasn't been paid. And then you ask, why are we allowing companies to be insured without being paid? It only takes a public announcement and an advertisement on television that to say to companies, no premium, no insurance. Maybe you give them 30 days from the day their premium expires. And then they have to pay. They don't pay, their staff are not insured. The match is words with money. We are still well below the WHO prescribed percentage of our annual budget that should go for health. We are still behind. Secondly, in the health sector, as in virtually every other sector in Nigeria, Nigeria is obsessed with where people come from when they are making appointments. Other countries, they look for the best man for the position. Nigeria, they first start by saying what zone should get that position. Then from zone, they now go to ethnic group. There is no country that operates like that can ever succeed. Because what happens is that when there's somebody, for instance, in a parastatal, who's technically good and who's honest and hardworking, and you go and supersede it by bringing somebody on ethnic grounds or zonal grounds or whatever grounds other than merit and competence, the person that has been superseded, consciously or unconsciously, will start giving less than he can give. Pass mark, yes. But is the pass mark 51%? We don't want 51%. We want 65% or more. There are still too many women dying in childbirth. Too many infants dying. You know? And there's a growing number of cancer cases in the country.
I was a choir boy in the whole old grammar school. The Bishop of Lagos, we normally spend all our time, people like myself and Shenekon, the former head of state, we normally spend all our time in Bishop's Court. Leonard was the Bishop of Lagos. Leonard Godin, that is the man named the cathedral, this thing after the church, was Bishop of Lagos then. And I was a choir boy. So that day, for the first time, I felt my age. And I'm thanking God, I'm praising God. I thought it allowed me to look back and see from where I was coming. When I saw the choir boys of grammar school, it reminded me of the days of my youth. It took me over 7 decades back. In the sense that I regard myself as lucky that my parents, they chose the school for me. I didn't choose it myself. Although if you go to girls' school, automatically is the next step. Is the next step that you move into. From CMS girls' school, you go to CMS grammar school. That's the ambition. Down the lane, you find King's College on the race course, and then you find Ekobos High School round the corner. They've not degenerated. They've gone. They're all doing very well. The challenges facing Nigeria is international. Like we talk about, Britain now, importation of raw materials, and then the economic situation. You have to react to it. That's where you are to survive in this sense. You have to struggle. Life is a struggle, and I see it as a continuous something, and we must continue, and then pray for our leaders to have a good vision of the country. That's what I will at my age.
I think the biggest problem now is the decadence that has overtaken the health sector in Nigeria, and the decline has been on for some time, and the economy worsened the situation, and the exodus too of some of our colleagues out of the country, also created the deficiency in the healthcare system. That is a problem. We haven't had the Ebola crisis had come and gone. Fortunately, Nigeria contained it and kept it off. What we've had in recent times, Lassa fever and cholera and so on, which is actually a reflection of the type of control we have in the health sector. We are not, the management of the health sector has not been as professionally defined as it should be. That's why you have such sporadic outbreaks from time to time. Apart from that, the decline in the general management of health sector, the decline in the hospitals, the teaching hospitals, the general hospitals, and so on, and even the private hospitals, had led to a lot of stress in the healthcare system. I graduated from the medical school in 1964. That's over 50-something years ago. And when we finished, we came out with all enthusiasm. We're going to make a lot of difference. Unfortunately, as the years wore on, we have had disappointments in terms of the vision that we saw in 1964. We did not realize all the vision that we were expecting. Although there have been a lot of improvements, but the expectation, let me say, the expectation that we as young people that were finishing from the medical school, that were training people from the Cameroons, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone and Gambia, one medical school. We are hoping that by now, with the multiplicity of the medical schools, the healthcare sector in Nigeria will be professionally superb and at its peak. The economy has decayed. If I go back to when we were in the university, when we were entering Ibadan, the year we were admitted into University of Ibadan, University College Ibadan, there were only 198 students that were admitted. 198 students that were admitted. In the medical school, only 35 in the medical school. what has happened is that the growth in the educational system, the university system, have been such that the country had not maintained the same pace as the growth of the country, which means the defect in the system is easily reflected, because if you don't match the growth with the economic progression, of course there will be a decline. Those of us that protested for the benefit of Nigeria as students, they'll be crying. They'll be crying of what is happening to this country. Because those were days when people sacrificed, believing that the children would be better off.
That may not be correct, and I'll tell you why. Because it takes two to tango. I don't know where they get that information, but you see, the practice of insurance broking is such that it's actually a professional thing, and sometimes the rate that you find a broker offering to its clients is surrounded by so many factors that if another business of same nature comes from another area, you want to presume that after all, I was charged 1 million naira for this. Why are you charging me 2 million? Well, like I said, there are so many things surrounding that aspect of practice that necessitates an increase in rates. Probably there has been an adverse claims experience from the clients. Probably the location of the business is quite different. You know, if you ask me to go and insure a property now in the northeast, it's quite different from insuring a property in, let's say, Delta or Port Harcourt or Ibadan, where it's a bit peaceful. So these are challenges that we have, that some people or some agencies of government think that brokers are not doing their work. There is really no situation that is the same in insurance. No risk is the same. So that may bring about variation in payments, which sometimes is misinterpreted as being fraudulent. Well, you see, the position of insurance brokers cannot be overemphasized in relationship with professionalism. The insurance broker stands in the market as the professional person that, you know, knows the in and out of what he's offering to his clients and what he's placing with the insurance company. Now, for an insurance broker who is a core professional, you find out that he's able to advise his clients on the right premium, on the right policy to take, and on the various steps to take when there is a claim. Now, technology, yes, can make things faster. Technology can have everything on the page, but technology is not going to talk to you as a client when the chips are down. I was in Kigali some times ago, and I was in an insurance company's head office there, and I saw people bringing accidented vehicles. Some people were in crutches to make a claim. Now there was chaos because they bought some of these policies on the internet, which is technology driven. And having bought these things on the internet, when there was a claim, you want to relate with internet again? Somebody has to see that your claim is genuine. Somebody has to help you place that claim to the underwriter, and that person again has to help you to ensure that you are saying the right thing when it happens. So for me, the issue of technology taking over, that it can only work for, you know, office routines, but you need to consult your broker if you want to get a genuine policy put in place for you. And then the broker has other duties to to remind you when your policies are due, and when you have additional what to do, when you increase your sum insured, what to do. All these are the duties that a professional will, render for you as a client. But these are not things that you sometimes find, maybe, well, in terms of some businesses like motor, you need your certificate immediately. Yes, we can fly to you through the internet, we can fly cover, but there, technology will not go and inspect the vehicle to see whether it's existing or not. That will be done by, superintendents and the insurance companies. Technology is not going to go and make your claim for you. You can only fill the form. Or if you don't follow it up, you are done. And even if you follow it up, as a client, what do you know about insurance? So that is why the position of the broker is very, very germane and important in the market.